Minister meet his demands? Will he stop his hunger strike? Well, joining me now, Manitoba Grand Elder Raymond Robinson. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, it's a pleasure.
So when it comes to the meeting with Aboriginal Affairs Minister Bernard Valcourt, what did it accomplish?
Well, there's always optimism. There's always hope. When we sit down with the ministers or representatives of the government, they always give us this hope that everything's going to be okay from now on, that everything that we aspired for, everything that we need, everything that we asked for are going to be taken care of. But when all of been said and done, they are never delivered. I met with the Minister of Indian Affairs today.
Was that a positive move?
It was positive because, I say positive because he is in a position to make change, to make changes to what our First Nations are crying for. We discussed contribution funding agreements. And as we know, there are First Nations out there that are very concerned with respect to what is on those contribution funding agreements. And they really didn't want to sign it. But
so you say they were
forced to sign it, but at the same time, as they were signing it, they made it known that they were signing it under duress. And whatever these concerns are with respect to their regions, that's their concern. But it's also my concern because I am Aboriginal, I am a First Nation, and they're my brothers, and I have to do everything I can to ensure that their concerns are heard and are taken care of.
Did you have hope coming out of this meeting?
Well, there's always hope in humanity. But the thing is, people always give hope. People always give reasons why a person should continue living. But it's one thing to give hope. It's one thing to say. People do talk, they talk and talk. But a lot of people don't take action. And today,
do you think they'll take action?
It is always my hope that they take action. We always hope they take action. That's why we keep meeting with them every day, every year, trying to address the basic needs that are really in dire condition in our reservations. Even my reservation, Cross Lake First Nations alone, we are backlogged about 1,000 houses. We have no opportunities for our youth. There's no economic development. There's nothing that our youth can go into that could take him away from alcohol or drugs. And all we have is people going into drugs and alcohol. And we even made one time as the highest suicide community in Canada.
The highest
suicide rate in Canada back in about 1986. And then we have the Grand Chief David Harper's communities that don't have running water, that don't have hydro. And these are measures that we would like to address. That I think it's about time the Government of Canada give us our basic needs, what is afforded to the general public of Canada.
Now, you were just talking about the highest suicide rate. You're essentially saying to the government, if we don't get what we need, you're essentially committing suicide by not eating and taking in water. Is that a bad message?
I'm not trying to commit suicide. I don't condone to anybody what I'm doing. Right. This is my own doing. I'm seeking for higher intervention. When we First Nations want or need something for our benefit or for the benefit of our nations, we go into fasting. We go into hunger strikes.
Right.
We sacrifice ourselves hoping that a higher power, the great Manitou, the Creator, hears us through our sacrifice, putting our lives on the risk to get the things that we need.
Now, I hear you say out of that meeting, we just heard in the commercial break, that the minister laughed at the suggestion of a meeting with the Prime Minister. Is that accurate, and how did you react to that?
Well, this is the way it happened. The minister said to me, "I'll make you a deal. If you end your hunger strike today, I'll go visit you in your reserve."
And
I said, well, and then I said, well, since we're into deals, I'm going to deal with you. You're going to be meeting with the Prime Minister after this. I know you're going to report back to him what was said here. So I'm going to send this message to the Prime Minister. I'll make this deal with you. When you meet with your Prime Minister, tell him this. I want him to start meeting with my First Nation leaders
And then
on a
you'll-
nation-to-nation basis to start seriously discussing in an open, fair dialogue on all matters concerning us First Nations, from contribution funding agreement
Right.
to the implementation of our Aboriginal treaty rights as entrenched in Section 35 of the Constitution of Canada.
So at this point in time, you're continuing on with your hunger strike?
Yeah, but the thing is, when I asked him to say that, to give that message to the Prime Minister,
Right.
he said that's never going to happen. Then he laughed. Now, are we a laughing matter? Are my treaties a laughing matter? Is the conditions of my reserve and all our reserves across Canada laughing matters? Is the way they're cutting our programming, our deliveries, in every way, a laughing matter? Are we a joke? Are we always been a joke? Are we ever going to be taken seriously? Or is that a clear representation of how the government looks at us First Nations in this country, that we are nothing but a laughing matter?
You sound very frustrated. What happens next?
Well, I'm hoping that the Prime Minister will make this call. The only call that I really want to my National Chief, AFN National Chief, Sonat Leo, to all the First Nations right across Canada, that our hopes, their dreams are riding on this, that I think it's about time that the Prime Minister himself makes a call, makes a commitment to the First Nations, to us all First Nations across Canada, that he's going to start recognizing, honoring, respecting our Aboriginal rights that is owed to us in this country.
Manitoba First Nations Elder Raymond Robinson, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
Coming up on Power and